This is a 3-minute message brought to you by Redemption Church, Delray Beach. Can I remind you that marriage is beautiful? See, one of the things that you don't hear often in our culture is that marriage is a good thing. Because the fact is, more and more people are getting divorced. And we're seeing marriages just simply fail. People are saying, well, why bother? It's not really a beautiful thing, it's a bother. Let's cohabitate. Let's just live together and have sex and not worry about this whole marriage thing, because marriage will just come to an end. So let's just celebrate love now. We even see more and more people losing their virginity, not in marriage, but just in one-night stands and different relationships, and just living for the moment for now, thinking that this is the best that they can do and have. But God wants to remind you today that He still values marriage, that it's a good thing. See, our culture says, well, don't bother with marriage. They don't value it. But God says it's beautiful. God wants us to see marriage as a beautiful thing, as something sacred and holy. And He invented this thing between a husband and a wife, found in Adam and Eve in Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. It says, the husband shall leave his mother and father and make a new family union. Two shall become one. And this is a good thing. A covenant relationship, marriage, that we get to live and spend our life with someone all of our life. And it's like no other relationship that we could ever be a part of. This beautiful team where the husband serves, lovingly leads in the marriage, and provides and protects as Christ loved the church, and a wife, a helpmate who supports, encourages, builds up, and submits to His authority as we submit to Christ, a beautiful picture of the gospel, of this unconditional love that we're able to experience here on earth. Paul even says it's a mystery because it's sacred, it's holy, it's something special to God, that we get to be a part of becoming one flesh, two becoming one flesh, spiritually, emotionally, physically, for the rest of our lives. And we see Solomon in chapter 3 of Song of Solomon excited for this covenant, excited for marriage. He makes a big deal out of it because he's been waiting, and he knows that having a marriage, having a spouse, will actually improve his life. And on this day, verse 11, it says that his heart was full of gladness. Why? Because marriage was a big deal, and still is, and it's important. And it was a beautiful union between God and man, where you commit yourself and make a covenant between your spouse, and the two shall become one. That you get to enjoy your spouse then physically and spiritually, emotionally for the rest of your life. And so even though culture would say, well, it's not that big of a deal, you don't really need marriage, you could just forget God about the whole thing, God says marriage is still a beautiful thing. It's still a big deal. And God still blesses marriages. And so I just want to remind you, marriage in God's eyes is a beautiful, beautiful thing.